The way that he utilizes the spells on those bad boys is second to absolute none. Spawning over in the bottom right to get things started here on Gressvan, playing for Mystery Gaming, it is Bunny.
And it's Bunny in the top left of the map, representing Onside, the greatest GSL player of all time. It's Maru.
Absolutely one of the scariest players on the planet. Not because of, well, not just because of really good fundamentals and macro, but the fact that he can do stuff like this to you at the drop of a hat. The amount of finals that I've seen Maru in when it literally gets to game 7, and he's the one with balls big enough to do this kind of thing. Honestly, this player just has everything going for him.
Yeah, he's got a lot of power with these sort of proxy builds. It's a double 14 racks. It's not even 15 racks. This is the hardest hitting Reaper rush that you could possibly go for in the game. Bunny, thankfully, is not going for an expand build. He's doing a double gas, but that doesn't get you out of the woods just yet. If you lose your first Reaper to Maru, it's lights out.
It absolutely can be. The position that he's put this in as well, it's far enough away that you wouldn't tend to scout this at all. Like, if you do scout, you scout all the high ground on that third position. But Bunny is obviously going straight across the map, and he will get wind of this fairly early. If you went for any kind of single gas build into an expansion, you'd be in trouble, Pig. Super trouble. But here, he is being very careful. He's going for a very safe build against all of this as well. I believe it is the double gas going on Bunny's side of things. Does get scouted by an SV, and if Bunny did not scout and he saw this SV time, he'd be like, oh, it's a normal game, right? But he obviously gets to see that there's nothing in that main base of Maru.
And that delayed second gas for Maru, he knows exactly what this is. Double racks Reaper, and he's going to have to pull SCVs to the ledge, try and fight it off. Maru already poking forwards, but Bunny has the high ground.
And the Reaper skirmish will be in favor of Bunny, so both of them can kind of run back, get the regeneration going, and Bunny's being very good about this. He's not opting for more Reapers, even though they are obviously the stronger battle unit early on. They do not build even remotely as fast, so getting out units as fast as possible. But that SCV kind of brought him over to one side here, so we'll have to battle about a little bit. And look at Maru, he's just kind of dancing with these Reapers, getting in and out, but just the little few things here. Bunny's done a good job of holding so far, gets a SCV for his troubles as well, and yes, still respecting the fact that he can pop up at this spot, but also on the far right. It's a very, very problematic game.
Factory goes down behind this for Maru. He pokes it in on the right side. Seems like a very technical defense so far. Bunny not leaving anything hanging out. Hasn't lost any units with a Hellion out. Maru has to turn and run.
Ooh.
One Reaper goes down. Fantastic hold for Bunny so far. Is he getting ahead of himself, though? Doesn't want to chase to the low ground just yet.
Getting that Reaper is a huge deal, and that Hellion, he can repair it. That Reaper's surviving as well with one hit remaining there. Maru, like for everything that went on, even blocking the natural here, I think this is a phenomenal start for Bunny.
Perfect defense so far. And remember, Maru's playing very aggressively today. Right from the start, he was pulling SCVs with a Marine Rush versus Rainer in the first series. Maru is coming into this just looking to put the aggression onto his opponents. And don't get me wrong, he is the master of coming back for even from deficits when his aggression fails. It is, though, giving Bunny an advantage. Bunny has the faster command center. He's got a few more units out. His starport is about 10 seconds ahead, and he'll take care of that barracks with time.
There is one thing I really like about what Maru's doing. He actually got a really fast factory behind this. So he is kind of saying, like, if you skip out here, and you got a scout there, there's not more Hellions coming out because it's a tech lab, the reactor coming down as well. This is a nice scout by Bunny, gets to see that, hey, that starport, it's pretty damn quick from you, but he gets to see the Hellion. You saw him try to hide it there because he's like, no, don't see the Hellion. So Maru really wanted to get some damage done on the other side of the map, but kind of gave away what he was doing.
Yeah, it might be a little too late. If he catches those Marines out, of course, that'd be fantastic. Marines will take care of that. Barracks, Reapers and Hellions starting to cascade over here, but 3 Hellions on the D for Bunny. And that should be enough, especially with Cyclones about to hit the field. Up 4 workers right now is Bunny. Oh, watch out for those grenades. Ooh, okay, Bunny needs to pull back 4, and now SCVs are exposed behind the natural, but Maru doesn't know that.
That's a lot of Reapers, man. Like, the amount of grenades to stop the damage and even deal a little bit of damage, but that medevac, Bunny's playing this really smart and carefully. Even this, just, what's he load? I mean, that is risky play. I don't know if he's going to try and be aggressive with that or what, but if Maru got wind of anything like that going on, like, that is a super crazy play there, Pig.
Yeah, this is what makes a god-tier TVT player. I think it's the ability to read. You know you can't keep committing. I've seen it. You've seen the Cyclone. You can't keep pressuring, and I can just go in and get a bit of flexible damage. He does have to be careful, though. Gressman has quite a deep main base, which means if the Cyclone locks on, it's hard to get out of there. Hellion Cyclone at the front, Marine drop in the main base. Bunny's going for it for the counter aggression. Maru's main mineral line out in the open, but he's not really losing any SCVs just yet. Only 2 go down. Nice lock on the front. Bunny gets a lock on the Cyclone, takes it out. Beautiful trade there. Hellion for a Cyclone forces out the auto turret. Marine drop is taking care of that main base. With no Cyclone, he's got nothing left that shoots up. Amazing damage for Bunny.
Bunny is straight up outplaying Maru this game. Like, the fact that he didn't go for the proxy 2-racks or anything like that, and now he's dealing this amount of damage. I mean, this doesn't look huge, but at this point in the game, look at those supplies pigs, 68 to 45. He's faster on everything, still dealing damage. Oh my goodness,
Whoa.
What on earth is happening here? I want to see the game.
We got the schedule up there as well, of course, because they're saying Bunny wants to ruin the schedule. He's playing so good. He's going to speed things through and get us right to the next stage ahead of time. We've got 70 supply versus 50, a massive advantage for him. Ravens on the way, third command center's coming up behind it, and that drop surviving. So Bunny's still got good map presence. For Maru, it's hard to choose. When can you even move out? What do? Do you turtle up? Do you start your own, economic progression? And with a third command center, that's basically the only option Maru has, is just turtle and try to survive.
You know, these Reapers, they've kind of like got to a point in the game where they're just not useful anymore. I mean, if you do get into the main, which is the only thing you could hope for, but not if you're into a bunch of Marines and tanks, and they are expensive, big 50 minerals, 50 gas a pop, and now Bunny feeling confident, and he's doing little smooth, cheeky moves here, single tank drop, quick pickup afterwards. He wants to get in the face and stay in the face of Maru, and you went Rotterdam ass Wardy, what would you do if you were Bunny? This is exactly what you want to do if you're Bunny.
Yeah, definitely. 3 tank advantage, 10 Marines ahead, and the 2 Ravens out as well. I think this is a situation where Bunny should be able to really just lean on Maru and get big damage done while macroing up behind it. You're only going to need 1 or 2 interference matrices, and there's no siege tanks for Maru, which means there's just no counterplay. What can Maru do? He's trying to get Vikings to counter the Ravens, but he's only got like 1 or 2 Vikings out so far.
And I love how careful they're both being about this. Like, every unit matters. And look at all these delay tactics. The Cyclone, the Grenade. The Interference Matrix will come in, though, and that is so many tanks here from Bunny.
Whoa.
Turrets go down, SCVs are pulled, chaos ensues. Maru is getting absolutely obliterated in this fight, and those tanks, they are not going down whatsoever, Pig. And look, Bunny is demolishing Maru in this game 1. This is not even close.
Absolute demolition there from Bunny. Slaps down the proxy Reaper Rush. Great SCV Scout, dots his I's, crosses his T's, and business as usual for Bunny.
And you know, if you were asking, what is Bunny drinking right now? Well, you just saw it on the screen. I want what that man's having, because he is playing damn good here. And it is lovely to see, because that series against Solar, it was pretty good, man. Like, he was playing good, clean StarCraft. And Maru, it feels like he's not yet woken up for this tournament thus far. But still, even if he does lose out in this match, it just means we'll get to see more of Maru in that knockout stage.
That knockout stage, of course, he'd be seeded pretty deeply into the knockout stage, even if he loses here, but you want to get straight to that top 8. You don't want to have to play so many extra games. If you can take tomorrow off to study and prepare and get things ready for that final day, that's going to be much better, because remember, these guys are GSL experts, but Maru especially excels in that GSL format where he knows his opponent a week ahead. He's got that time to prepare for 1, 2, at most 3 separate opponents. And that's what is going to favor Maru. He needs time. This is his 3rd match today, and we do tend to see Maru fizzle down a little bit the longer the day goes, the more series he plays. We're going to see if he can put that kind of story to rest today, turn things around and bring this series back. Yeah,
I mean, when you go for a proxy 2-racks and it kind of fails, because, I mean, Bunny held it so well. I mean, obviously, you're putting quite a lot on the line there with such a risky kind of volatile strategy, but we'll see what he brings to the table in the next games, because if he just kind of resorts to more normal builds, but I'm just curious about how he's feeling, because he's been whipping out a lot of these very strange plays so far in this tournament, more about like trying to get the games over quick. So yeah, maybe he was bang on in that interview where he's not feeling the best right now. Maybe it is kind of one of those travel situations for him where he does need an extra day or 2, which he is going to get, luckily, no matter what.
Yeah, definitely. There's still, of course, the knockout bracket, but definitely one which is going to be interesting, because I really feel that TVT is a matchup where he is next level in the defensive late game. It's something where I'd love to see him give himself the opportunity to get there. I'm standing in his way. I mean, that was a near perfect game 1. It looked stunning. Let's see if he can repeat it again. In map 2, in the top right side in the red, we've got Mystery Gaming's Bunny.
And spawning over in the bottom left side, representing onside, it is Maru. He's such a magnificent TVT player. Like, he doesn't need those tricks, but those tricks can often get him little cheeky edges here and there. Keeps his opponent playing honest as well, knowing that you can't cut the corners, you have to scout me all the time. Often it can be one of those ways to start off a series, just letting your opponent know, hey, I can do anything. I can be a little bit crazy. So being 1-0 down, it's not the end of the world. You had to win 2 maps regardless of the situation you're in.
Looks like Maru is going to be going for that more economic path. Single gas expand on the way for Maru. Whilst it is, of course, a double gas opening for Bunny. It's a gas first for Maru as well. So I do like the gas first in this matchup. Kind of the in-between, you know, the one Rax Reaper expand does delay your factory a lot. In this case, you can still get that factory down pretty quickly while securing an expansion. Yeah,
it's a little bit on the either end of the extremes here for Maru, like the Proxy 2 Rax into the expansion build. Definitely a entirely different way of playing TVT. He did play against Bunny that was scouting the game before with an SCV, so he would know about this early on if he was, but I can't remember the last time I've seen Bunny actually go for any kind of Proxy 2 Rax shenanigans in TVT. It tends to be more like take a Clem approach to the matchup, where it's like very safe, solid, and standard, but this time he isn't scouting at all here, so definitely a different game from both of them.
I think a good choice for Bunny, unlikely, I mean, unless Maru's completely gone insane, after you shut down Proxy Reaper like that, are you really going to proxy again? Bunny says, no way, I'm happy to take that risk. I think it's, 1 in 100 series where you're crazy enough to do that 2 games in a row after it got shut down. Bunny skips the scout, has a slightly more efficient opening, building a couple of Reapers into a factory. Should see that command center go down momentarily, and Bunny will be the first one to pressure across the map. Now remember, if Maru somehow loses the Reaper duel, it's terrible with this opening because you've only got 1 Reaper to defend.
It's one of the greediest builds you can actually do in TVT these days. Like the no scout Reaper into reactor straight away. Like he's absolutely gambling with this kind of opening because Bunny, if he was a little bit crazier, yeah, he could have been really, really punished for this. Even if he went for like a safe 2 Rax opening, he could be in trouble with this. But he's going to get away with it for now, given that Bunny is absolutely playing the safe game here. He's 1-0 up, no reason to be too crazy.
Maru's winning. Yeah, good pullback by Bunny. Maru had the first shot off there. He's going for the SCV, but oh, slick micro by Maru. But Bunny's going to go after it anyway, realizing this is a 1 Rax expand. He gets it! Oh, that's a big problem for Maru. He's got 2 Hellions on the way. They're not here just yet. Bunny gets in. He gets not only an SCV and a Reaper, he's going to pick off at least 2 more workers here. If he can get the one on the starport, that's a prime target to slow down the tech, but he doesn't want to throw the units away. Hellion drives into the base. Absolutely bananas play by Bunny right now. He senses a chance for damage and he goes deep. 5 SCVs going down. Starport delayed. Command center is finished for Maru, but he was so distracted that I don't even know if he was making an orbital during that. He was.
Yeah, he absolutely was. Bunny's on point today, man. Like, this is absolutely phenomenal play out of him. And I saw Maru upon losing that last SCV to that last shot from that Hellion. He had a little smirk, a little smile, but it was one of those like, is this really happening right now? Like, this is going as bad as it possibly can for me.
Nothing like a smile on someone's face where you can tell their soul's dying inside. Yeah. We've all been there. You're like, oh, really? The last SCV as well? Does give Bunny a solid advantage, but the 1 Rax expand is a very good build order, so you can take a little bit more of a punch as your economy is larger. But a Medevac 4 Hellion's going to come out. Maru's going to look for that counter drop pressure. If he can sneak that in the main, that can do crazy amounts of damage.
It's just so difficult for him because he's going to be under a lot of pressure very soon, and Bunny has enough that he can defend with what he has, right? Like the Cyclone, unless they're out of position, those Hellions sneak around. I mean,
pretty far forward right now. Might be lining up for Maru.
Oh, like 2 ships in the night here. That will be unloading into that main base, and that is a massive dead zone.
Oh my god, he's just moved out, Ben. He's just moved out to Maru. This is such a big problem, and it's in the, oh my god, it's in the shadow. It's in the shadow. The unload comes in. This is a disaster for Bunny. A Hail Mary play for Maru. And that is going to be a massive amount of damage potential coming in so far. Bunny does a good job with his spreads, but 8 SCVs already falling.
That is really bad. And Chaos will ensue on the other side of the map as well. A tank in a good position here. I mean, he does not have true high ground vision. I mean, the Medevac has to be very, very careful. Still has a Cyclone back at home, but holy crap, what a way to get yourself back into the game with this kind of Hellion drop here, and it's not done at all either, Pig. I mean, he will start cleaning up. I think he has a tank out defensively back at home, but...
It's in the wrong spot, though.
Oh, that's a lot of SVs. There's a lot of SVs.
Yeah, multitasking issue for Bunny here. It's so hard to deal with this, and notice how Maru's keeping his SCVs alive on the left side. The tank's covering them right now. Some of them are starting to fall, but Maru's Hellions were cleaned up on the other side of the map. The Cyclone continuing to do damage. That Depot will go down. Siege Tank continuing to shell from the high ground. Maru is taking a lot of damage, and if he can't re-establish that natural, he's in trouble.
This is one of the most chaotic games I've seen that's gone on for like 5 minutes, and luckily he unsieged that tank as the interference matrix landed, meaning he got the full unsiege off, gets to get away as well. Bunny's handling this so damn well, man. Like, I mean, that Hellion drop went about as bad as it possibly could, but if we look at the SCV counts, it's still not that terrible. The unit count as well. I gotta say, Bunny managed to still get a lot of damage done on the other side of the map with what he had, so the move out from him definitely was a decent one, regardless of the damage he took back at home.
The Marines turning home now to group up. Bunny has a single tank advantage, but he's down a Raven. He's going into the Vikings a little bit earlier. Maru, third command center, double Raven, a bit more of a standard setup. He's going to sneak one Raven across for some harassment, and it looks like Maru is knuckling down for the survival mode. Get to the late game and just try to hang on. Bunny, on the other hand, wants to keep on pushing, and with that army supply advantage, 42 versus 30, it could be a fantastic call. Maru scouting Marine. Look at the split. Hides his numbers there. Very cute move by Bunny.
Knowledge is power, and especially in this matchup. I mean, that amount of siege tanks, if he gets into a good position there, or Maru meets him out on the map thinking, hey, that army's way smaller than it should be, right? And then it's like, no, 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 and then you get caught completely off guard. Using those Ravens aggressively, I mean, it's a move that Maru has to make. Or when I say that, he is ahead in workers, but oh, this is not what you want if you're Maru. Like, this is Bunny being pretty decently prepared. You're going to lose the Raven as well. Granted, it's a lot of lost mining time, but yeah, this is not good for Maru whatsoever.
If Maru survives, he is up 10 workers, but you're absolutely right that losing all that Raven energy is big. He doesn't seem to realize the army's right there. The scan gives it away, but it looks like Bunny is not confident pushing into the natural, and he's down 10 workers. Bunny's also not building workers. He's all in right now. He is not looking for the longer game.
No, I feel that Maru's actually posturing really well against this. Like, there's only one medevac on the field, and look what he's defending his main base with. A tank, a few Vikings, just enough to deal with it. And he might lose that tank in the main base, which is, it's a deal, right? But getting rid of the medevac, oh, but over at the front, but there's only one Raven versus two. This is always going to be a nice little battle here for Maru, using the Marine. I mean, the Marines are all getting stuck, actually, Pick. This is not what you want for him.
It's a bad fight for Bunny. Maru's hold is impressive right now. He actually manages to take out most of the tanks. He exhausts the Raven energy. All the Marines of Bunny are gone. And Maru says, I'm on 50 workers, you're on 32. That is a complete reversal of positions from the early game. It started with the Hellion drop sliding in, but also fantastic crisis management. And now good Raven tank defense. Bunny definitely got over-eager here. I do still think he had chances to rebuild economically, but he went for the aggressive side. Maru seemed to realize that, and he said, well, the third command center, I'm just going to shut you down.
Oh, that's a lot of Marines getting slaughtered there, but the tank duel that's happening right now, Bunny definitely getting the worst end of everything there, and Maru, 20 SCVs ahead, and Bunny calls it GG. He knows he can't come back from that against the likes of Maru, and what a chaotic game to get back into things there for Maru. I mean, that was not easy. Going for an expansion build like that, losing 5 SCVs against a build when, you know, you can't normally get away with that, but some of these skirmishes here, he handled himself very nicely. Bunny put himself in a kind of decent spot on these trades, but having the one aggressive Raven, then still 2 back at home and still having the Viking numbers, that was very nicely managed by Maru. That is not easy to do.
Not easy at all. Keeping quite a few SCVs alive for a while on his natural while continuing to just pick up those Hellions and drop them from side to side. Of course, it all started very well for Bunny with the double Reaper as we watch this replay. They went in, circled nicely. The Hellion dropped though right as Bunny was looking to keep up the aggression, and this did so much damage. Even though a siege tank came out and tried to defend it, it was actually in the natural, and Maru picked back up, went back into the main, and that's why you can see the worker kill count just kept on going up and up, 12, then to 14. And meanwhile, Maru slowly broke out, re-established control, and he knew that as long as he survived here, he had it in the bag.
You could really feel the interference matrix usage here from Maru was clean, right? The 2 tanks that were in range, the other 2 tanks on the far right side were doing nothing for Bunny whatsoever in that skirmish. And then it's like, all right, I have enough Vikings here to make sure that I'm not going to take damage. I'm always going to have vision of you, and I'm in good shape. I'm going to be on 3 orbitals after this. Just nice patient gaming from Maru there. And I mean, he had to do something a little bit crazy to kind of get back into it, but that 4 Hellion medevac drop, that was absolutely the key thing to be doing. And you don't often see it in this matchup, but he got away with it, and he got away with it really damn well.
It feels like championship caliber players like Maru have a sixth sense for when it's time to throw out something like that Hellion drop-in. It is a little surprising, maybe, that Bunny wasn't ready for it since he did see the reacted Hellion production, but I think he just felt like, hey, I'm all over him. I'm the one in the driver's seat. Maru's going to have to be trying to defend. And of course, leaving that little gap in the vision was unfortunate for him. But Maru is focused as ever. And even on, a day where maybe Maru says, oh, I'm not that confident. Well, apparently when he's not that confident, he still wins GSLs and everything else. This man still has a tall task in front of him. Can he keep up some striking, some semblance of superiority? Can he show us that fantastic TVT he did in map 1 in the top left of the map? It's Bunny.
And spawning over in the bottom right, getting himself right back into the thick of things, it is Maru. That was some good play from both of them, because that was not an easy game to manage or kind of assess the situation you're in.
Yeah.
How many SCVs have I killed? How many has he killed? We're both kind of in a bitter spot, but Maru just at some point was like, all right, if I hold here, I'm in good shape. If I do this harass with this Raven, I get to see what's going on. You've got a tank in your main base. That means you're going to have one less tank on the aggression. He was just very good about utilizing his starport production to get out all the right units he needed. And when your opponent is in your face and you have to make those decisions in the blink of an eye, it was all just real key from Maru.
Fascinatingly, both sides going 1-Rex expand in map 3 here on Near Humanity. Maybe realizing that Reapers aren't as scary because you can wall off the ledge so easily with a single building. Both sides SCV scout, the SCVs phase through each other in the slow zone. And this one is going to be going a much more economic start. Much higher chance of this game going longer. Up to this point, it's just been action-packed early game, and the players really just winning with their early micro.
Maru's kind of faking that he's going for a double gas, by the way, with this double depot opening. So, like, right now, Bunny's probably scouted this, being like, oh, you're going double gas. Maru's going to get all the information of exactly what he's going up against. So this could kind of potentially temper with Bunny's decision-making and what units he actually makes, because, yeah, he's going to be probably going for a more safety approach afterwards, whereas Maru, he's not doing what Bunny thinks he's doing.
That spawn advantage as well. Bunny can't do that because he can't wall off with a single depot, right? Because he's got the space for the add-on there. So Maru takes advantage of that and does disguise his opening a little more. Second gas does go down now as well. Maru gets that before the factory, interestingly. So he's going to be going up a little bit slower in that regard. And just wants that extra tech. I imagine Maru plays triple Raven this game. I mean, you've got to think, how good did he look at just defending with tank Raven? How over-eager did Bunny also look in that last game? As Maru, at this point, don't give yourself any chance to slip up in the early game. Just get to the mid-game onwards. That's where you're the best. It
is definitely the kind of situation as well where you're playing a few mind-gamey tricks with your opponent and showcasing that you're doing something that you're not. And look at that, Maru with a third CC exceptionally early here. So he is absolutely playing with his opponent. That is before the starport. So this is as greedy as you can possibly be while showcasing that you're playing an absolute standard game. I love this kind of stuff. One thing that he could run into that could definitely bite him in a bad place is if he goes up against like a double starport build from Bunny, because then he could be under a lot of pressure with very low tech.
Yeah, that is absolutely right. The funny thing is, he's not really using his factory. He's just building SCVs, going for a reasonably timed starport. It's like not that delayed because he's cutting everything else out of the build. Maru really using that information from the early game to tailor his build. Whereas Bunny, he's building a Cyclone. He's building all the standard things, right? He's got some more safety precautions built into his play. But that does come with a bigger standing army. So if Bunny can find a way to leverage that, go get some damage done to Maru, it'll be all right.
And I mean, going to Cyclone's never a bad thing. Like, Cyclones can have a little bit of map presence, a little bit of map control. I mean, even Maru, you see, he's going for a Cyclone as well himself. We're getting the Raven out still quite early on his side of things. I mean, if this game goes on for a good 5 minutes without anything happening between them, as in Bunny doesn't move out, I say that, but Bunny's gonna move out, isn't he? Like, he's the kind of guy that's never gonna let you sit still, never gonna make you feel comfortable. But, I mean, you always have to respect Maru because he's so good at his matchup. Does start up his third base himself, but it starts as that orbital finishes morphing here for Maru.
Yeah, Maru's gonna definitely have an economic boost, and I already feel like with the 1-Rax expand, you can get your barracks going quite fast in this matchup. Third command center opening, he's gonna just be building like 4 barracks all at once. We are gonna be seeing double upgrades, mass marines start to come out all in the next few minutes. And the big advantage is going to be the tempo of which those barracks get up. So Maru's production, I think we'll probably hit full 5 barracks production, maybe like a minute and a half faster than Bunny. So around the 8 to 10 minute mark is going to be a huge danger zone where Maru simply has way more Marines with Stim, many more units on the field. And Bunny's going to, have a big army now, but what's it matter? There's no fighting going on. It's just tiny skirmishes on the map. So definitely alarm bells ringing for any Bunny fans. He's got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, so he does get the scan, gets to know the third base is already up for his opponent, and maybe he's thinking like, oh, what corner did you cut right here? But both of them getting all the knowledge, all the know here, seeing exactly when things are going down. Now, Maru, you were right. That 4th and 5th barracks does start up very early. The double engineering bay very early as well. Look at this little switch up from Bunny. He goes for a Viking and a Liberator first out of that. So he's looking to probably utilize that Liberator for some eco damage at some point, realizing, hey, which corner did you cut? I need to do a little bit of damage just to make sure that we're on even keel here.
Also might be expecting medevac. Seeing the earlier barracks, he might think Maru's going to be very Marine medevac focused and kind of not even contest the skies. Vikings can be massive in that scenario, as can Liberators for siege pushing.
It's double lib now, Pig. So it was like one Viking into lots of Liberators very quickly. And I mean, he's not all in on this push because, he is getting the double engineering bay behind it and stuff. He's getting Stim. Granted, it's all going to be a lot later, but this is actually... This could definitely slow down how fast Maru takes the third base, because right now, 51 SCVs, you want to take that third, man. And Bunny's really utilizing the strength that he has in his very, very regular build.
I love how patient this push is. It's really methodical, just marching forward little bit by little bit. All these depots going down. Maru's in trouble right now. How do you get out of here? He's got a Raven flank coming in from the right side. Ravens have scooped past the army. Liberator pushes back that siege tank. I think he's just going to go for a backstab. I don't know. You're losing control over your own expansion. Killing a few of Bunny's workers does not get you out of the woods. I think he needs to use those for the Matrixes. Here we go!
Ooh, 2 Matrix land. The third does land as well, but that means he's got not much for turrets, but he's still dealing a lot of damage. Stim is done in perfect time as well. He cleans up Bunny, but he does take some losses here. But I gotta say, what a cleanup from Maru. And now he's broke out this contain. He kept quite a good chunk of his army alive as well. I mean, that didn't cost nothing. But the fact he's going to have 1-1, and most importantly, maybe combat shields here. That means his Marines can actually survive the tank shots. But luckily for Bunny, he does still have a Liberator on the field, but does get to see the Cyclone. And yeah, I mean, Bunny is definitely behind after that situation, despite being ahead in workers.
We're talking about the 8 to 10 minute mark being scary for Bunny. It just got scarier. Losing that army, losing all your tanks. You're outnumbered on the Marine count savagely. The upgrades are well ahead for Maru here. He's got the medevac mobility as well. Don't get me wrong, if you headbutt into this defensive position, I think Bunny will hold. But if you scoop around and start dropping those mineral lines, things can get very, very bad for the Red Terran. He's got to hang on right now. Good positioning though. The Vikings push back the medevacs 1 deep in the red. And so far, a good hold for Bunny.
The armory was a little bit later here for Maru, so doesn't start up that 2-2 right as his 1-1 finish, but I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in this game. Maru somehow, amidst all this, gets an SCV lead back in his favor. I mean, his macro is amazing as well. I mean, even though he's got a whole array of utility with the builds that he brings to the table, when it comes to just flawless execution, he's good. Starts up that 2-2, starts up a 4th base on location. He's in control of this game, or at least being out on the map right now, because those upgrades are still ahead of his opponent. That combat shield still has some time to come online.
Double gas is on the way at that 3rd base for Bunny. Maru drops his own as well. 2-2 upgrades are going to be a good 45 seconds or more ahead for Maru. 2-2 hasn't even started for Bunny just yet. Both sides on 5 racks production, and Bunny's combat shields will be ready shortly. So he's going to kind of close the gap on the Marine tech. The army advantage is actually significantly there for Bunny. He's way ahead on the army. He's been more consistently building Marines. And I guess that does come at the cost of the upgrade deficit, but still not too bad.
No, Bunny's actually doing the right thing here and hunkering down, because he does have the unit advantage, which is kind of with his build, right? But that upgrade, he has to wait for them to kick in. Now they're kicking in. Now be on even stead, and we might see Bunny moving out way more with his army, because the last thing you want to do in Terran versus Terran is let your opponent get all the strongholds, getting all those positions where you can really get nice and, push your opponent to the limit. And here, his army's huge, man.
Yeah, that is a big 35 army supply advantage right now. Bunny is equal on upgrades right now. Hasn't started 2-2, but doesn't need to. He's got a massive army advantage. We know that Bunny loves to do timing attacks. He loves to force the issue. He wants to fight when he thinks he's strong. and you can tell he's doing it now. Now, on the downside, he's kind of overly committed. If Maru defends this, he's so far ahead. But that is a big if. Bunny shoving down the left side. Those two drops do manage to evacuate those Marines. A lot of units moving in right now. Is Maru in position?
Pig, I don't think Bunny even has an armory right now. He's not starting 2-2 at all. He's all in on this, and he's going for it right before 2-2 finishes up for Maru, but he's running into a lot of siege tanks here, but there is so much red terror moving in. The Vikings reign supreme in the skies. Nothing to really take them down. The Marines doing all they can, though, and now look at that. That was a huge flood of red terror, but they do find a tank on the other side of things. Maru, can he hold on? He's getting evacuated from his natural, pulling the SCVs as well. Bunny, is he doing it here? 2-2 about to come online, but for what? There's no Marines alive for Maru at this point. This is getting super dicey here for both these players. Finally, some Vikings come out for Maru, and he is going to hold by the looks of it, but Bunny's in a real tight spot here between both the bases.
Maru does restart his armory. Armory only just going down for the first time for Bunny. Bunny was massively committed. He's still down 11 workers, no fourth base, no 2-2 upgrades. Bunny took a fantastic fight, but Maru is simply ahead. That fourth base is healthy mining on the right. Maru's still building 4 workers at a time, even with this army here. And definitely the double tank production is huge. As long as Maru keeps building 2 tanks at a time, he's going to be able to get out of the woods. He's going to be able to outscale Bunny's production.
I tell you what, this is some real clean play out of Maru. Like, the fact that he's able to hold on here, equal supplies, I mean, that means that Bunny's army is bigger, but 2-2 has finished for him. The armory's only just come online for Bunny. He was so damn committed to this, and he has to keep up the pressure. But how do you do it against a guy that can do everything you can do, and maybe potentially even better?
Nice. Liberator's Siege does move one of Maru's tanks, but with only 3 tanks here, I think Bunny needs to pull back and play a longer game. He tries to force it. Remember, the 2-2 upgrade advantage from Maru is massive, not to mention he's got the double tank production. Bunny throws away a bunch of his army, and he still has not started 2-2 upgrades. His 4th command center may be going up, but Bunny is looking desperate. He's going to use those tanks to drive a wedge between the bases. Nice positioning by Bunny.
Oh, super good positioning on those tanks from Bunny, all stopping all the reinforcement, but Maru's units are just better right now. All the Marines are absolutely getting obliterated on both sides, but Maru picks up, drops on the tanks. Bunny's going to try and get out of there, but is Maru going to let him? No, he does not. Maru breaks out, still on 75 SCV, still looking fresh in this game. He even has the time now to get enough gas to get his 3-3 started, and Bunny, he's only just starting the 2-2 big. He was so committed to making this happen.
You know, Bunny may have defended the aggression perfectly and then finished it off smoothly in map 1, but since then, it's looked like Bunny at some point says, let's go, pedal to the metal aggression, and Maru is just so good at defending and surviving. Now, finally, massively ahead, he counterattacks across the map, evicts the 3rd base from the location, 4th base is exposed down to the left. Bunny goes for a desperate counterattack. But remember, the upgrade advantage 2-2 versus 1-1. Even losing that 3rd base is not the end of the world for Maru. He's got so many more units coming out.
And Maru's getting ready for the late game, man. He's adding on his second and third starport here, so he's going to be looking pretty fresh. Both are kind of trading out a 3rd base here, but Bunny, I feel that this is kind of a one-way ticket for him, getting out of this situation. Yeah, he can't do it. Maru takes the series here, and wow, what a 3rd game by him. He absolutely came alive in this series from a bit of a shaky